Lauren Patton, co-owner of Old Bakery Beer Company, was on the podcast. You're about to hear the interview right now. Alton, Illinois. This is a massive location right on the river. It is beautiful. They've been here for 10 years, and now they're hosting events like MCU Trivia and a nerd market coming up in August. Hear all about it right now on Mostly Superheroes. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the podcast. This is Mostly Superhero St. Louis indie podcast, serving it up for you. We are so excited to bring you Lauren Patton, the co-owner of the Old Bakery Beer Company. Welcome to the podcast, Lauren.
Hello, thank you for having me today.
I didn't warn you about the live studio audience. I didn't warn you about that.
Oh, you didn't? No.
You can hear them.
I thought I heard some laughter in the background.
Yeah, that's that thunderous applause. Thank you for coming in. I actually know about Old Bakery Beer Company. I've been there. I've had a few great times at your location. Yeah. I live obviously in St. Louis, and for those listening around the world or here locally, Alton, Illinois, about I'd say 40 minutes north of here of St. Louis. When me and my partner, my fiance, actually got engaged up there at Pierre Marquette Park. Am I saying that right? Pear. I should know because that's where it happened. But that was like one of the few times we've hung out up there, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful city and a beautiful location that you have. So like the picture that I set up is I just think of downtown Alton, that main strip being on the river, and your spot is like the spot to pull into, very open, and it's a huge space. So I thought maybe today, we're going to talk about a couple of nerdy things, but just so people can get to know you that haven't heard of you before, how do you guys talk about yourselves and introduce Old Bakery Beer Company in Alton, maybe starting with how long have you been there on location?
Yeah, so we're actually in our 10th year. We opened in 2015, so we're like 9.5 now. So it seems both very long and very short at the same time.
Yeah.
But for those who aren't familiar with us, we are a certified organic craft brewery. So sustainability is really important to us and our operation. We're one of the only certified organic breweries in the country, one of only 40 out of over 10,000 breweries in the country. So that's kind of the little niche that we operate in. We try to use, local, sustainable ingredients in all of our beers whenever possible. We use a lot of Illinois grown grains and all U.S. grown hops. So that's kind of the beer side. You can find our beer in Illinois and Missouri and at the brewery and at bars and restaurants and liquor stores and retailers around town, mostly in the St. Louis metro area. But then we also have a full restaurant, as you mentioned. So if you come see us in Alton, we have a full family-friendly restaurant. For those of you who aren't beer drinkers, we have wine, spirits. We have a lot of non-alcoholic options. We've got a kids menu. We've got an event space. There's stuff going on down here all the time. So there's a little bit of something for everybody.
Well, that's what our show is all about. You can see that you guys are hitting your stride here on year 10, and now you're getting froggy with some of these really cool niche events. That's when I feel like a local business is really starting to hit its stride. So
Yeah.
Focusing on the drinks, I hadn't realized that you guys were the organic side, the vegan side. That's so amazing. We've talked a lot about you guys probably know this in your own market research and what you've seen in the last 10 years, but it's not just vegans or people that have to have that kind of drink, right, to enjoy it. People that myself, just personally, I look for sometimes those options because they seem like a little easier on my stomach. I don't feel as full, and I'm a guy that likes to have a couple beers. So I'm actually having one of them now, and I think this is a great time to say, let's talk about the drinks themselves and give some people like a taste of what's going on. I know this one was a special collaboration, the Best Buddy Golden Oat Ale, right? Wasn't this like a good cause plus a customer contest?
Yeah, so we did a couple years in a row. We did a contest, a raffle, more or less, for the best buddy beer can. We have a drink for a cause program, so every month we give back to a different charity. You can round up at the register, and on the third Thursday of every month we donate proceeds from our beer sales back to that charity. And we've been working with Hope Animal Rescues for several years. So a couple years ago, we decided to add on to that fundraising for them, and so we provided a raffle where people could pay. All the money went to Hope Rescues, and they could win the chance to have their dog featured on the can. So these are the winners from last year's raffle, and lots of cute little buddies on there. Those are mostly winners, but a couple of just like family and staff related dogs on there thrown in the mix too. We aren't doing the raffle this year, but I would suggest, hopefully we all love dogs and cats. I'm not biased one way or the other. Equal, love here. So in January, we're going to be running another similar fundraising event for a local cat related charity where you can get your cat featured on an Old Bakery beer can. So that opportunity will be coming up.
Congratulations. You've just sold through this household. Carrie is probably upstairs entering this contest right now. This is a cat house, I'm telling you. That's amazing. And just for those dog winners, like I want those folks to like have this moment of like, here's a few of the dog names. If you if you got your dog's face on here, Luna, we got Hazel, Britton, Buddy, of course. I mean, you guys really put the pictures of the dog with the name. That's just the sweetest thing ever. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's more of your special projects beer. Love the
Yeah.
philanthropy being mixed into the business model. I think that's more, you got to build that stuff in from day one. So good on you guys. What else are you pushing right now? We're showing some beers and drinks on the screen, but feel free
Yeah.
to talk about what you're kind of talking about right now. We're in July in the summer. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I think we got you a pretty good summary lineup there, but you got most of our like core beers for what we sent to you. So our Citrus Wheat is our flagship beer. It's our most popular beer overall. It's just like a light, really easy drinking wheat ale with organic Illinois grown wheat, and then it's got some coriander, lemon peel, and orange peel. So that's the beer of ours that you'll find the most like in local grocery stores, retailers, restaurants, are most widely distributed and are most popular at the brewery too. Just really easy drinking. And then we added our blueberry to our year-round lineup. We used to do it seasonally, but it was so popular, we just decided to start keeping it around all year long. And unlike a lot of like blueberry beers especially, but other fruit beers too, it's like very well balanced in my opinion. It's a golden ale and it still tastes like beer. I feel like it smells like a fresh baked blueberry muffin, and you get a little bit of blueberry in the flavor, but it also still tastes like beer. Some of them can be so cloyingly sweet, and we try to keep things a little bit more balanced. Then you guys also have our Upriver IPA, which is just our flagship IPA that we have all year round. It's a juicy style IPA, so you get a lot of kind of tropical, maybe a little pineapple from the hops that are in there. Just a really nice, like well balanced, easy to drink IPA. And then the best buddy that you have is a golden ale. We sell it all year round at the brewery as golden oat. We call it golden oat here, but we put it in a can especially for the collaboration. But we have a ton of different beers available. We had a lot of fun this summer. We have a lemon radler that we brewed in collaboration with our local Prospect League baseball team. And we have our River Road radler. It's a grapefruit radler. And we have Oh Yeah, which was brewed for Pride Month. It gives back to Vivant Health. And that one is a slightly tart wheat beer. It's a Berliner Weiss with tropical punch. So it's bright pink and a lot of fruity flavor and a little bit of tartness to it. Lots of beer options.
Lauren, not just the face of the company, knowing these drinks inside and out. Way to go. And then tell me about, I'm going to say it right, okay? Herbarium?
Yeah. So Herbarium is a brand that we started to add a non-alcoholic brand to our lineup. So Herbarium is our line of sparkling herbal teas. We partner with a local farm, Flourish Farmstead, on those. They help us kind of develop the recipes around what they're going to be able to grow for us. So we use locally grown herbs as much as possible in those from Flourish Farmstead. And we just wanted to provide, a non-alcoholic non-alcoholic option that was like good for you. Like, it's got some herbs in it. It's not too sweet or anything like that, but it still feels like a treat. Like it's lightly sweet. It's got a little bit of body to it. Instead of like, I feel like it's like an upgraded alternative to just having like a bubble water or something. When you want to have something that feels like a little bit more special.
Heck yeah, I love the NA options. You've made it into our studio beer fridge, so
Oh,
congratulations
thank you.
for whatever that's worth. And
What an honor.
yeah, absolutely, it is because this is it's a small fridge too. We're not big time yet, and we always want to have the NA options in there. Like give the. I think in St. Louis we have that drinking culture, but if you don't want to have alcohol or you just want to try something different, I think it's so cool that you're doing that. So kudos on all the amazing drinks. You have the restaurant, you have the food. People can come for all those good times right on the river. And let's get right into it. A couple events. One of them just happened. And I mean, you talk about fitting into this podcast. We got a huge Marvel episode coming up in the future where we're going to fan out about Marvel and really organize it in a nice way for our fans. You had MCU Trivia Night. This was just last night on July 31st. How did MCU Trivia go?
It was great. It was our second time hosting MCU Trivia Night. We do monthly trivia nights usually with Chill Trivia Company, and the theme rotates every month. It's different. So a lot of times it'll be a TV series like Seinfeld or Friends or whatever. And this time it was MCU. It was so popular the first time that we brought it back for a second time. And people get really into it. We've had some people, come all dressed up and just like really ready to go.
Well, you picked the week for MCU. Deadpool Wolverine came out. We've already seen it twice on this podcast. We rented a private theater and did all that. And then also there was major news out of Comic-Con with, I've already talked about it on our pod, so I don't mind saying it again. Robert Downey Jr., who played Iron Man, is back in the MCU now. And maybe you heard people talking about that last night. I don't know.
I did see that. I didn't hear people. I wasn't here last night.
Oh, you can't make them all. That's okay. That makes sense.
I can't.
Yes.
I set up the event space.
Nice. Yeah, you're still part of it.
No. So I did something, but I wasn't actually here for trivia last night. But I have seen that news about Robert Downey Jr. Even though I feel like in the pandemic, closures time frame, my husband and I were going through various movie series, and we did watch like all the MCU up until that point. But there have been so many movies released since then that we're very behind, and we may never catch up.
Well, I think that if we were
we gave it a shot.
Hey, I appreciate that. We call that a fair share and a real take on the relationship. And if I was going to convince you to stick with any fandom, it'd be the MCU. It's my favorite for sure. I think it's really some of the best storytelling from what the world could be. I almost think like the MCU is this world that is out there within reach for all of us to have. We can't have superheroes flying around, but there is a certain mutual respect and trying to always make the best of the situation. And I will say to you and fans that are on the fence right now, Deadpool Wolverine's the perfect time to jump right back in. Don't even rewatch anything. Don't watch anything between Endgame and Deadpool Wolverine. You'll be just fine. And they're like kicking off the new mutant era. So we're going to get some X-Men and stuff. It's going to be fresh new stories. They're going to leave some of the stuff they did in the last couple of years behind. But hey, you got me rambling about the MCU right now, Lauren.
I definitely appreciate the enthusiasm.
If nothing else, we have it. And now, a break. Hey squad, Logan here from Mostly Superheroes, wanting to talk to you today about some real-life heroes. Team Jakey, headquartered here in St. Louis, Missouri. They're turning the tragedy of losing their beloved Jake Zeller into life-changing action. Not just by making a difference, but by saving lives. Team Jakey supports both the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and Provident Behavioral Health here in St. Louis. Join us at their annual Gentleman Jake Memorial Cornhole Tournament. It's more than just a game. It's a community coming together to lift each other up with some of the world's best prizes. If you're feeling down or know someone who is, Team Jakey's here with a message of hope. Reach out by calling 988. You can also visit www.afsp.org or text TALK to 741-741. You're not alone, and there's always a way forward. Someone's waiting for your call or text message. Search for Team Jakey on Facebook And learn more at www.mostlysuperheroes.com/give. Every bit helps, and together, we can make a difference. If you listen to the podcast, you know that before and after the show, when we're hungry or craving some beers or some live music, we usually end up at the Gramophone in the Grove here in St. Louis, Missouri. It's our spot for the best sandwiches in St. Louis, like the epic classic The Jive, stacked with roasted turkey, thick cut bacon, Swiss, lettuce, tomato, avocado spread, and pepper mayo on a toasted baguette. Don't skip the sides. Nothing beats Big Willie's homemade mac and cheese. It's the sidekick that never ever lets you down. Plus, with daily specials, there's always something new to celebrate. So come join us at 4243 Manchester Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63110 at the Gramophone, and tell them that Mostly Superheroes sent you. Visit www.gramophoneSTL.com for their full menu and more. The Gramophone, where heroes hang out. We got pretty cool ads on this podcast, I'll give us that. However, you might be like me when it comes to certain content, and I just don't want the ads. As little as $1.99 a month, you can get ad-free content from Mostly Superheroes. That's right. Patreon, Apple Podcast, Podbean, all of these channels offer ad-free versions of our episodes coming out early, including the patron pre-show, the show before the show. Open up Patreon, Apple Podcast, or Podbean, or go to mostlysuperheroes.com/support to learn more. Thank you for supporting your favorite independent podcasts. Mostly Superheroes Indie Podcast has a slate of upcoming titles, interviews, and topics ready for our listeners and fans, and you could reach our audiences. Your brand, professionally recorded ad, hear our voice, our crew record an ad in your style, and make your brand heard on Mostly Superheroes. Find out more at mostlysuperheroes.com/sponsor. All right, back to the show. Before we move on to an event that's in the future that's extra nerdy, I wanted to say, you mentioned that you have recurring type events. You also mentioned your husband. That's your co-owner, right? You and your husband run Old Bakery Beer Company.
We started it together. Yes, he was our head brewer when we opened. He actually is taking a step away from the brewery now. He's going back to school for mental health counseling. So now he spends most of his time in school or still making all of the numerous repairs that this building requires.
That's great. He can go get his mental health certification and then come back and work the bar and just help us all out.
Yeah, right? We need that. Or at least the staff. We need
yeah, even more so. Work it into the orientation curriculum,
Yeah.
Okay, and then you mentioned recurring events. What else are you guys have live music like on Saturdays, I think?
We don't have live music right now. We actually are kind of in a planning phase right now for future recurring events. So I would suggest, anyone interested out there to follow us on social media. And within the next month or two, we should be announcing a lot of things. But we do have some fun stuff coming up. We have a lot of different markets, one of which I know we'll talk about shortly. But throughout the season, after that one, we also have a Halloween market. We have a pre-Thanksgiving harvest market. We have holiday shopping markets. And then we also will be having an Oktoberfest event and some stein holding competitions in the month of September. So those are kind of the main things that we have coming up right now.
Heck yes, and great job. You're too good at this, by the way. You're just, you got the whole year lined out, something around the corner all the time. And right now in July, this episode will drop like right after we talk. Nerd Market, Saturday, August 17th, 11:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. It's a Saturday. Talk to us about what's going on at Nerd Market. This sounds so fun.
Yeah, so this is our first time hosting a Nerd Market. It was honestly a little bit inspired by my 8-year-old. So he, ends up coming to a lot of our markets, and there's usually something, that kids like there. But he's, often disappointed by like the lack of Pokemon and things like that. So we were like, we should probably have a Nerd Market, and maybe he'll enjoy it, or he will want to come out to that. It was a discussion that we had to have with him, though, because I'm not sure he's sold on being a nerd in terms of the lingo. So I had to explain that we're having a market based around a lot of his interests, and it is called the Nerd Market, and that's a good thing.
Oh my God. I mean, you know who you're talking to right now? Look at this podcast. All right. And I can tell you, my fiance, she's hot. Okay. It's like she's really talented, smart. Like, tell your son, you said, like,
Yeah,
okay, it's cool to be a nerd. And not only that,
right.
double down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's where I'm trying to get him to
You,
go with that.
you
But so the nerd market is going to feature all sorts of local artisans whose wares specifically features, traditionally nerdy things. So a lot of them are influenced by video games or sci-fi or um, superheroes, all that kind of stuff. We do actually have one vendor in particular coming who mostly drawing, and he does a lot of art based around MCU universe stuff, almost exclusively MCU. Um, and all sorts of things. We have one person who is at a lot of our other markets who builds terrariums. They're very cool. She uses a lot of very cool, like insect taxidermy in them. And in the ones that she's building for the market, she's going to be integrating some Pokemon into her insect taxidermy terrarium. So I think that will be pretty cool. We've had people reach out though from all like different walks. Like we have a lot of people producing jewelry and various things like that that are inspired by these categories. But we also have just people like a local Ghostbusters fan club reached out to have a table and sell some things and talk about what they do. We have our local community colleges video game club is going to be here promoting what they do. And then we also are doing some table game promotions there. So our local event or our local toy store, Funky Planet. They'll be there selling new table games, and we also have someone there selling vintage toys and games. So really, just a huge, wide breadth of things that are nerdy.
I mean, it sounds like the best Saturday ever.
Yeah,
11:30 a.m. to 3:30. It's at a brewery. You got all the options. You guys will be, grab a beer, grab some food, but then walk around and meet tons of local nerds, which I'm realizing like nerd is really just like I know a lot about something. Like I am into
yeah,
something a lot. So, there's a lot of nerds in St. Louis. I mean, last 5 years be doing this show, I've been able to see them come out and meet a lot of folks, so I'll be sharing this to them. This is a reason to get to Alton if you don't already live there. And yeah, nerd market, man, that sounds like a good time. Good on you guys for feeding the need, and good luck on the event. It sounds like so much fun.
thanks. We're very excited about it, and I don't even want to think about how much money my 8-year-old's gonna
Yeah, you're what's your eight,
spend.
what's your 8 year old's name?
His name's Murray.
Murray. Have fun. Great idea. Go have a blast at your, you might as well just call it like his nerd market. I mean, it was his
Yeah,
idea.
Murray's third mark.
There you
Yep.
go. Maybe that'll be his. It'll just be a shop next door to the bakery one day. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty like.
So, well, you mentioned a lot of other events. So you guys have something go on all the time. Old Bakery Beer Company. This is where I say, where do people find you? How do they get in touch, and how do they stay informed?
We try to keep it easy, so we're at oldbakerybeer.com, and then we're on Facebook and Instagram at Old Bakery Beer as well. So you can find all the information about our food and beverages and all of our upcoming events in those places.
All right, and this is how I quickly just bring you into like what we do here. What are you a fan of, Lauren? What do you nerd out about? What do you do whenever you're like, okay, I got some time to kill. I can do, what is it?
Well, I'm a bad nerd because like I maybe don't have enough hyper focus. I read a lot, but I also like usually don't know the name of the book or author of what I'm actively reading, and then I pretty much immediately forget it after I'm done.
Oh no. Okay, we can help you with that. We log everything just to make sure we don't do that. Well,
Yeah, I mean, I do log them all because that's the only way I'll remember when I'm trying to find a new book if I've read that one or not. I have to log them.
the advice there
Um,
the advice there, listener, is always keep a list. Many lists, right?
yeah, yes,
Also, I think that something that's changed in time and with the culture in this country and in the city of St. Louis and around is it's a good thing that we used to have to do these things in downtime, and
yeah,
what's considered after work, and then I'm doing this leisurely thing, right? There's this like idea of leisure. Well, I'll tell you, you are a nerd, Lauren. You're a nerd about beer and running your business and like doing cool
Yeah.
stuff with your community. I can tell that you're really into it and that you don't have any notes in front of you and you're just like living this. So congratulations on
I
being
take
the
up too
old.
much brain storage here, so I don't have a whole lot of brain storage left over for extracurriculars.
Yeah, this is not an extracurricular, but it can look that way to the outsider, but this is a very
Oh
serious
yeah,
job, and
yeah,
but
yeah.
like I think that's the mission right now is make your job fun. Make it that you have fun doing your job. So I'll ask you, are you having fun doing your job?
Sometimes.
Yeah. What's a rough day? What's a rough day at Old Bakery Beer Company? What's going wrong that irks you?
Oh, I mean, it's mostly just that there aren't enough hours in the day to get everything done. I mean, as you can tell from the discussion we've had, there's a lot of moving parts. So we've got special events, we've got private events, we've got beer releases, we've got non-alcoholic releases, we've got cocktail menus, seasonal food menus, event planning, like promotions, accounting, everything that kind of I have to stay on top of all of it. So
And
just yeah.
this is the golden nugget now. Last question, then I'll let you go. I've taken plenty of your time. What do you give advice to someone that's managing all those things? How do you get through your toughest day whenever you're in the heat of getting stuff done?
Well, I do think lists are very important. With the specific, like when you're in a position where you are managing a lot of different areas, so instead of being like an expert in one, you're overseeing a lot. I think just like remembering all the little things can be important for the people that you're leading and also very difficult. So everything that I can possibly think of that I have to do immediately goes into my to-do list app in my phone.
I'm gonna give up an applause for it because it seems so simple, but it is true. You can't just wing it if you're managing a lot of aspects and people are counting on you. You got to be able to look back at something real. And you said it. The Notes app on my phone has enabled, especially nowadays, it's so much better than 20 years ago. You can make 1,000 lists. So make a list. It's in the app.
Yeah.
You can search for the one you need. We always appreciate the pro tips. You're one of the, I'll call you an entrepreneur, a business owner, and you are managing a lot of people. A lot of people count on you, even the people that are coming to the Old Bakery Beer Company to have some fun. So Lauren, I'll say thank you so much for coming on Mostly Superheroes. I really appreciate the time.
Thank you so much for having me on. It was fun.
We always say it's the get to know you one. So if you ever want to come out and nerd with us again, we'd love to. And we can come see you too. But if you're ever in the city, we're here and we could do either or.
Sounds great. Maybe I'll send Murray next time.
Oh man, please. That would be great.
We can talk about Ninjago for an hour.
I don't even know what that is, and I need to know now.
I do also end up taking a lot of brain storage, remembering the things about Murray's interests. So
right, yeah, you're a good mom.
I know too much about Pokemon, too much about Lego, too much about Ninjago.
See, now you're nerd adjacent just because you have a son.
Yeah.
We like to say we're pretty wholesome. Deadpool and Wolverine was a rated R movie, so when we talk about that, it's a lot of F-bombs. But normally we warn people about the F-bombs coming, and we try to think that we're for everybody. Of course we think that, but hey, this is your homework assignment. Keep an eye on our podcast, and if something sparks your interest, check it out, and maybe Murray might like us one day too.
Yeah, I bet he'd be a big fan.
Well, Lauren, until next time, thank you again. Best of luck with the Nerd Market. That's August 17th. And everyone listening, check out Old Bakery Beer Company. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Mostly Superheroes is proud to be funded in part by our sponsors. Mostly Superheroes is funded in part by paying patrons who receive early, ad-free, and exclusive episodes. Subscribe at mostlysuperheroes.com/support. Thank you for supporting your favorite independent podcast. Mostly Superheroes is an independent podcast owned and operated by Carrogan Ventures in St. Louis, Missouri. Hosted by Logan Janis, Andy Hunn, and Scott Swearingen. Brand and creative by Carrie Clark Design. Music by Audionautics. Learn more at audionautics.com. Find more at mostlysuperheroes.com.